Hey guys, today we're going to be looking at the jukebox app I created. In this app, an iTunes RSS feed is called to populate the sales of a table view, giving users up-to-date information on the top-selling songs currently available on iTunes. Seeing as the data gathered is being called from a real-time RSS feed, the information displayed in the table is continuously updated to show the new hits. Before we delve into how this was accomplished, let's take a look at some of the basic elements that help make up this app. First off, let's look at how the table view is structured. As you can see, the original view controller was deleted and replaced with a table view controller. Similarly, a new table view controller Cocoa class was created and assigned to this controller. From there, only a few elements were altered to create the structure of the table. For example, the number of sections function was changed from 0 to 1, as seen here, and not changed any higher than 1 simply because we did not need any data repeated. Next, when looking at the number of rows in section function, you'll see that the number was set to response array, which is actually set to reflect the number of objects found in the string variable I created, which ended up being 10. As we continue, I will explain how the response array variable was created, but for now, let's get a better understanding of some of the other underlying functions. So, next, when looking here at the self_row_add function, this was used to display the title of the song, the artist of the song, and the album artwork of the song. Now, next, looking at the didSelectRow function, this function was used to allow users to visit the URL where the song can be played. Now that we have an understanding of how the table view was created, I will now explain how the data was called to populate the table cells. First off, it's important to understand what exactly Alumofire is. Alumofire is an xcode plugin that simplifies the networking process, making it easier to gather data from online sources. In order to install Alumofire, CocoaPods were used. I won't go into detail on the installation process, but if you don't know how to use CocoaPods, I highly suggest you view one of the many tutorials online. After importing Alumofire and Alumofire image, a new variable was created. As you may recall, this string variable was used in nearly all of the functions I mentioned. Now let's look at how the data was gathered for my purposes. First off, a request was made to the URL of the RSS feed I obtained from iTunes, as seen here. Then using a response JSON statement, I turned that RSS feed into a JSON feed. It's important to note that, unlike some JSON feeds, the RSS feed I used was a dictionary element rather than an array. Therefore, I had to basically unwrap each variable of the dictionary until I got to the data I needed. So, as you can see, I first had the function read the variables in the feed section of the code, as noted here. Then, once in the feed section, I was able to search variables in the results section, as noted here. After that, I simply set the response array variable to that of the results. And finally, the reload data action was needed to populate the table view. Now, looking at the self_row_at function, as seen here, you can see that the variable song is equal to that of response array, as noted here, allowing us to search the data presented in the results. From there, the last step in this function was to call certain variables presented in these results, such as the name of the song, the name of the artist, and images of the album artwork. Again, in order to populate images, the Alumofire image plugin is needed alongside the standard Alumofire plugin. Now that the data was readable, I created labels and image views named song name, singer name, and album cover to display specific results. While I'm on this topic, it should be noted that although the labels and image view appear in the table, a custom table view cell class was created for this to function properly. Now that I had a table view set up and populated with data, I wanted to make each cell clickable, giving the user the ability to click each cell and listen to a song. While I could have used a segue to accomplish this, I found it easier to simply use an instantiate view controller statement, as seen here, that linked the first table view controller to a web view controller, as noted here. Looking closer at this function, you'll notice that, like the cells themselves, the URL, called artist URL, is based on the results from the response array. Seeing as it's basically set the results as a list, the URL generated will be different depending on the row clicked. Now let's take a look at the second view controller on the storyboard. As you can see, the first thing you may notice is that this view controller is basically one large web view. When the web view loads, it loads the request sent from the previous view controller. This was done by creating a string variable named URL and adding that string variable to an if-let statement in the viewDidLoad function, as seen here. This statement then fed into another statement that defined the URL, and once the URL is defined, the web view is free to load the URL in the web view using a load request, as seen here. The last function I added was that of swipe gestures, giving the user the ability to swipe right to go back to the original view controller, as noted by this statement here. All that was needed for this to work besides this statement was a simple segue between the controllers, noted by the Object-C function right here. Now that we discussed the coding behind this app, let's take a look at a simulation of the app running. The most important thing to note when viewing this app is that all of the content, including the song names, artists, and album artwork, will change based upon the top-selling iTunes tracks. Therefore, when Apple updates those statistics, the app will update simultaneously without a coder having to update the app's code. In return, the user can simply click the song they want to listen to, and they'll be transferred to a page on iTunes site where they can preview this song. Once the song finishes, the user can simply click back and check out other songs on Apple's top 10 list. So that's pretty much all I have for you guys, but if you want to check out this code any further, you can download the files at the GitHub link I have posted in the details of this video. Thanks for watching!